Here we are. This is the day 3 of the Learning Festival. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. I hope you have some coffee or some tea or something hot because it's a little bit chilly here in Montevideo. So, for people at home watching the recording, thanks for being here. To all the attendees in this meeting, we are so used to say meeting, in this, all right, talk, welcome and thank you for being here so early with us. So our speaker today in this third and final day of the festival is someone we have been working with I have been working with for a year. She's brilliant. It's the first thing that I'm gonna say. Okay, she's so committed to um, communication and education, but also to always talk about that human factor, that human touch in everything we do. So let's welcome Mercedes, who is going to talk about liquid identity. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I will do because I know I will do it. So thank you very much for being here with us. Mer, I open the floor to you.
Thank you. I feel like I need a round of applause or something after that. I don't think I've ever been introduced like that before. All right, so Ed was saying that it's a little chilly in Montevideo. I wanted to know where are you guys connecting from? Is everyone in Uruguay? Do we have anyone outside of Uruguay? Can you write? We're going to be using the chat a little bit today, so if you can, I know some of you might be doing something else. If you're driving, I can see some people driving. If you're driving, then maybe not such a good idea. All right, we've got Argentina, we've got Montevideo. Do we have anything else? Montevideo too. Salto. Oh. All right. This is like a stand-up thing, right? All the people from Salto. All right. I love coming to Salto. All right. So before we start, let's just take a second. It's Wednesday in Uruguay. Tomorrow is a holiday. Is it a holiday? I assume it's a holiday in other places. So today is like a Wednesday, Friday, like Fries Day or something like that. So there's like a special energy. I want you to take a second, take a deep breath, kind of take stock of where you're at today so that I can also get a feeling of where we're at. I would like you to share in the chat an emoji if you can, again, right? No accidents. Share an emoji that best represents how you feel right now. So take a second, take a deep breath, and think, how am I feeling today? Right now, I'm feeling, ooh, we got cool glasses. Nerdy, I suppose. Is that a nerdy? Most sleepy. Really? Very cold? Is that cold? Sleepy. We got some sleepy. All right. Okay. Good. All right. We got plenty of sleepy. So I have I have a job to do, right? To try and wake you up today. All right. So we're gonna start our talk. Nice. I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing. This is the agenda. Can you all see what I'm sharing? I'm not looking at my screen so I can see you, okay? I hate not seeing people. So if I don't share at some point, please let me know. All right, so today we're going to be talking about really light things like who we are, what identity is. We're going to be talking about labels and AI as a creative opportunity and stuff that can get in our way. But I don't want to spoil it too much. So let's get started. If you can, grab some paper and a pen, if you can. Handwriting is always better when you're doing learning processes, just so you know. This is something that I always tell people because more of your body is implied in that. So if you're writing things with your hand, it's more probable that you will remember stuff. So today we're going to start with the question of who we are. Okay, nice and light for a Wednesday morning. Wednesday, 8:30. Who are you? I want you to take a piece of paper, the pen, and I want you to complete this sentence. I am, right? Don't overthink it too much. We're not necessarily going to be sharing. Obviously, if you can share, it's going to be better, but you don't have to share. So don't overthink it too much and try and be as honest as possible with yourself. All right. Okay. So, show of hands. How many of you completed this sentence with a job? I'm looking at you, some of you. How many of you completed it with a role like mom, dad, friend? No? All right. Some of you, how many of you completed it with just one word? Some of you, not all of you. If you would like to share in the chat some of the things that you wrote, you can. If not, then if you want to keep it private, you can keep it private. Is this a difficult thing to do, to find something that describes you? Why is it difficult when somebody asks you, who are you? Grateful. Oh, cool. Okay. So we're talking about how we're feeling or how we are. Is that, do you consider that part of your identity, something that you carry around a lot, or is that just today?
I try to be.
Good. Excellent. How about the rest of you? I'm multitasking. That's really honest. That's really honest. I can see a couple of you doing that today. All right. Anybody else? Do you guys find it difficult to find something that describes you like that when somebody asks you who you are? I can't see you anymore. I don't know what you did, Edwin. I can see people now.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I assume that you find it difficult because it is difficult, right? I'm Maddie. My best version, I love that. I love that. I'm a code monkey. All right. So it's difficult sometimes, right? To find when somebody asks you to describe yourself. And when we're talking about personal branding, I'm not going to go into too much about personal branding today, but when we talk about our identities, sometimes it's a little difficult. Can somebody sort of fathom an explanation or a description or a definition of what identity is? What do you guys think identity is? If I ask you, tell me about your identity. What is it? What would you say it is? Does anyone want to give it a go? What do you think about?
If there is no one that want to speak, maybe I can try.
Go.
Actually, the identity for us is a reflection of what the others see when they see us. So I think identity is kind of a mirror of society looking at us. It's hard to define yourself with your own knowledge of yourself.
I love that. Anybody else want to give it a go? Thank you. But Paulo, when you're a teacher and you have people like you that sort of volunteer to say, okay, I'll do it, I'll speak. We are eternally grateful. Your teachers will not always tell you that, but we're all like, oh my God, thank God somebody said something. All right.
Okay.
Anybody else want to give it a go after this definition?
Yes, I think identity is part of what you are. I mean, is your personality, your job, your relationship with your family and friends. I mean, it's a whole combo of different little things that makes you who you are, including your experience and tastes.
Awesome. I love that. Federico, did you want to say something today?
Good question. It's a good question, but I mean, like sometimes when you introduce yourself, for example, in a job interview, you used to refer yourself as, okay, I am a bachelor in business administration. I'm the CFO of a company, and that's it. And this is, I find that sometimes this is the like the wrong perspective, I think, because it's not who you are that in the in of you as a human being, you know. It's just a statement that um and that's for me the main question when there somebody asks who you are exactly. It's very difficult because in in our lifetime we always are changing and it's hard to say, okay, I am now uh, uh, something, but maybe in a short term or a long term could be another thing, you know? And that's why for me it's very difficult to answer that question. You know?
Excellent. So this is basically what we're going to talk about today. So thank you very much for joining us. But you guys used all the definitions and everything that I wanted to mention today, right? So when we look at identity, first of all, it is a story that I tell myself about who I am, right? The narrative of what I say that I am. Okay, this is really important because, as all stories, some of it might be true and some of it might not be true because we kind of believe anything, right? So the narrative of who I am is partly what I have to be a little bit more aware of, right? And it's something that I can edit at any time. It's also a collection, like I can is it Laura? Is it Laura? L? Laura. Like Laura was saying, right? It's a combo of all the things that I have, right? It's a collection of the memories, experiences, the aspirations, all the thoughts that I have that sort of encompass my being, right? I am inside of all of those things. And what's interesting, for example, about memories is that they're kind of like stories. They can also be fake news, right? Because uh, research in neuroscience has shown that when you remember things, you're actually remembering the last time that you remembered, right? So when you think, no, I am my memories, your memories are also a little bit editable, right? And so this kind of goes in line with what Federico was saying that, okay, it can be one thing today, but it can also be another thing tomorrow, right? And as our friend Lacan would say, and Pablo mentioned, we are but mirrors. We do not construct our identities by ourselves. We construct our identities with others, with our families at the beginning, with our friends, with our coworkers, with people who hold up mirrors, and I see myself in that reflection, and I kind of start becoming what I think other people want me to be or what they think that I am. So I completely agree with Pablo in that sense, right? And we're also networks of meanings, right? All those memes that you watch, the social media, the nasty jokes that you share in private with other people, all of that forms part of your identity too, right? Because again, we don't construct those things alone. Most of all, though, I would say, a little bit in line with what Federico was saying, is that this is a search. My identity is not something that is. My identity is like a construction, right? And it is contradictory. It's divided, right? It's not always, it's like a playlist that is on shuffle, you know, but you pretend that it's an album, like you present it like it's an album, but really it's like this chaotic mess in the middle. My identity is constructing, it's searching, you know, when a lot of times now you see people like, oh, find your authentic self, like it's something inside you that has to be discovered. And really, it's not something inside you that it has to be discovered. It's something that you have to construct, that you have to build. But also, apart from the storytelling, I mean, it's fine to say that you are something, but then you also, look, if you look at my little picture, you have to be it. You have to full out cosplay it, okay? Like it's not enough to say that you are something. You have to get the little stick. I love the picture of this guy, you know, like the little stick, the thing, and you have to go out. And I like this picture because I think that that's how it feels at the beginning when you decide that you want to change a little bit of who you are. One of the most difficult things is going outside and telling other people that you are that now. Yeah. Have any of you had to rebrand yourselves professionally, or have you changed jobs or changed a little bit of what you're doing? Have any of you done that?
I think that we are constantly trying to polish our personality and our identity, because as humans, we are always trying to be better persons and have a good or positive impact on the others. So when, for example, you are traveling alone and you have to present yourself or introduce yourself to something like a new word, it's also a good way to be always searching for that improved version of you.
I love what you're bringing, because I think sometimes when you travel or when you're in a completely different setting, it's easier to present yourself as somebody new. You know, like a lot of times presenting yourself as somebody new is difficult in places where, as today, you know, you hold the mirror, you are a teacher. And sometimes people even continue to ask you, even if you haven't taught a class for ages, people continue to ask you stuff about teaching, right? Sometimes it's easier to present yourself as a new version because you feel a little freer, don't you? Like I'm pretty
Lighter.
sure that you mentioned exactly.
Yes.
You're mentioning this because there's something that feels light about not having people that know you looking at you in a different light. Yeah. So what I'm saying about the cosplaying is this, because sometimes it feels like cosplaying when you're with people that you know and you're trying to present yourself in new light. Sometimes it feels a little bit like you're faking it. Does anybody feel like that at all? Has anyone ever been in a
Yeah,
situation like that?
I was to bring up that we are like showing always a version that is attached to our environments and our different environments. We have like a custom version of each environment.
Yes,
Go on.
sometimes it happened to me that when I had to do a presentation or anything, I try to cosplay myself as more confident than I actually are. And I'm actually very nervous and kind of insecure. So you have to cosplay as a more confident person because you are teaching or you are exposing something to other listeners.
And it works a little bit, doesn't it? You kind of you pretend that you're a little bit more confident, and then your body is like, oh, we're confident now, great. And so you start becoming a little bit more confident.
Yes.
This is something that we talk about a lot when we're teaching. You know, at the beginning it's like, oh my god, you know, I'm going to teach, and you sort of freak out in your first experience. And we always tell teachers, you know, like just go out there and pretend that you're a teacher, and suddenly at some point you start becoming a teacher. Now, identity is different from labels. Okay. Today we were, I think this is not the case so much for you guys. You guys mentioned some things, but not so much words. When we try and label ourselves, somebody said today, you know, it's not like we're not seeing the full picture. When we use labels, and this is different to identity, in that when we use labels, we're sort of looking at ourselves like in a looking glass, and you can't hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. Somebody opened my door and said, I can't hear you. Everybody can hear me except you. So the difference is when we label ourselves, it's like we stuff ourselves into a bottle and, you know, put a label on it, and it exactly, we limit. Thank you. I was trying to find the word for it. We limit ourselves when we do that. Okay. Now these labels are not only labels that I find for myself. Sometimes they're labels that other people have put on us. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about one label that you've carried for a while and that you would like to get rid of? One. Okay? Not something that's necessarily part of your identity, but something that you've carried for a while that you would like to get rid of. I would like you to write that word on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a negative one. Sometimes positive labels can also be a burden. For example, for a lot of time in my life, I was told that I was good and I never made any trouble. And I fucking hated that.
Yes,
It was a
exactly.
burden, you know? So think about this label that you have. I want you to write it on a piece of paper. Have you all done that? Half of the room is like, yeah, exactly, right? So it's not always good. Like when we talk about labels, they're not always bad ones, right? So I want you to look at that thing that you wrote and I want you to cross it out. I want you to cross it out and I want you to mentally say, I am not that anymore as of today. Are you doing that? I don't see you violently crossing anything. As violently as possible for 8:30. All right. And instead of that, what I would like you to do is to write down a list of words that you think describe you better. Some of them that you think you are, and some of them that you would like to be. Okay? Even if now you're not so sure. Are we ready for this? I'm going to give you a minute max, but I'm going to check to see where we're at. Don't multitask in the middle. Don't go check your emails right on your. Think of all the things that describe you now and the you of the future. We done? Think about when you write that, think about what people would say. Somebody that admires you. Try and think in this thing that we were talking about, the mirrors. Try and imagine somebody that admires you and think that person say about me and add those words if you haven't. Are we doing that? I didn't know that it had a ringer. All right. Are we good? Yes? You can nod so that I have an idea. All right, good. Okay, so this guy, Sigmund Bauman, look at him. He looks really smart. I mean, obviously. He talked about liquid modernity, right? Does anybody know him? Does anybody know Bauman? Does anybody know the concept of liquid modernity? Miguel is saying yes. Do you want to?
Yeah, I remember it from high school, but he lived in a world that was transitioning from maybe like more rigid or unflexible concepts of about life, and maybe today, those beliefs or many aspects in our lives can change or vary among across time, and maybe nowadays those things that were more unflexible are more flexible, and it has connotations that are positive and but also negatives. Maybe you can change things that you didn't like about you or your surroundings, but also those things that like that maybe were like the floor where you were standing on, uh, are lost now. And that can be per- like it can be like maybe nocive for you in a few cases if you like cannot deal on can't deal with that very well.
Exactly, right? This guy, he said exactly what Miguel was saying. He was talking about solid versus liquid, right? And he said in the past, it was all solid, right? Look at that structure. Okay. Structures were clear. You had a career for life. You had relationships for life. You had institutions that worked, right? You had your company existed. Maybe some of you are entrepreneurs also. This goes for everything, right? Like companies existed and did the same thing for life. Like it was all something that was much more fixed. And what's happening now, and it's been happening for a while, but I feel that now we're in a time when this is even more, it's becoming liquid, right? It's becoming liquid. And what shape is liquid? Does liquid have a shape? It doesn't really hold shape. If it's in a glass, it has the shape of a glass. If it's in a bottle, it has the shape of the bottle, right? And so the idea about being liquid, not only in the structures of life, but also thinking about our identity in form of a liquid identity, means that I am going to adapt. I am going to flow, and I am going to respond to what I have. A lot of times, we think, yeah, this is me now, this is the best. Like, there's a lot of theory behind it, but then, when we check in with ourselves, really, it's kind of like, oh my God, everything that I have is now gone. Like, a lot of times it's not something that we apply that much or spill over. Marco says, thank you for the positive vibes. Could also happen, right? It can sort of overflow. So when we're talking about liquid identity, the concept that I would like us to think about a little bit more is not just like, oh, you have to be liquid. It's the fact that this is where we're at now, and the more that we accept the fact that everything is changing and that we can change, we can give ourselves permission to change. Okay, so rebranding, our own personal rebranding, which was something that we did before, is not really an exception. It's kind of becoming like a default at the moment. Okay, because stuff is changing so much more that we have to sort of move around and cosplay, but like full on cosplay all the time. And the good thing is that we're all doing that. Yeah, it's not just like one or two people doing that. So the way I see it, AI is an opportunity for this. Now, some of you may be like, I don't know. I think it's a creative opportunity for us if we embrace it, right? Because who we are, I think, is no longer a fixed idea, and the future is, we don't know what's going to happen. You're always discovering something new about yourself. Exactly. If you let yourself. If not, then you're not. Yeah, it's not something that happens to everybody. So is anybody here worried about how they might be out of a job, or about what skills they might need in the future, or that they might be obsolete soon? Not just you, but maybe also your job as a whole or your company as a whole. Is that something? Yes, somebody says from 1 to 10. How anxious does the future make you when you're thinking about you in reference to how things might change? 7? Anybody else? 3?
Well, since AI started,
Yes.
this fear got increased a lot, to be honest. It was not something I thought about like 2 years ago, but nowadays I'm thinking that in 5 years I'm not going to have work anymore or something. Well, that idea pop up in my head.
Yeah, but
Paco,
if you
yeah,
keep,
go on.
yeah,
Go on,
if you
Evan.
keep up to date, you are gonna have a job. I think that if you are willing to adapt, AI is an amazing tool. You might work much better than now if you
Yes,
use it properly.
I agree with you. I agree. Sorry. I agree with Pablo. It caused me to say the word agree, but I basically was going to say the same, that I use it every day in my work, and I'm learning to implement generative AI into coding, to code with AI.
All right, so
Sorry,
both
Mylar.
Yep. I think both things are true, right? Faco, I'm with you 100% on this. I'm making this presentation. I'm putting this slide as AI as an opportunity, but also I am like, like, will teachers exist? Will I exist? Will I have my job? Will my skills still be relevant in a couple of years? Everything is changing so much that I'm not so sure that it is. So here is, for those of you who are a little bit, that it's not that you think that you won't be relevant, but when this thought pops up in your head, here's what I think that we can do. I think that AI is a great opportunity for us to think about what we want and what we would like to do, not just keeping up with all the latest tools, which can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. But AI, it's in a moment where everything, absolutely everything is changing, right? Like where all the pillars of reality are being moved. It's a pretty good time to rethink who we are and who we want to be. Today, somebody mentioned the me of the future is better than the me now. All right, so how do we think about ourselves, not just in a branding sense, but in a more profound self? What is it that we do, really? How do we do it? Yeah, it's not just, okay, I have this degree and this is what I do. This is a time when I have to rethink about the skills that I have. Do I work? Value do I bring table? It's aligned with my purpose. Do I even have a purpose? Do I know what I like? Right. So I don't want to induce anxiety like, oh my God, all these questions that I don't have answered. But I would like to say that this is the best time to sit down and think about who you are, about what you like, about what moves you, about the skills that you have and the things that you bring to the table. You know, a lot of times when we're talking about AI, even people who are really involved in AI, what they're telling us is that the human skills are the most important ones now. Yeah, like it's not that relevant that you have to, you know, to have a degree. I'm not saying don't study, but, you know, some things are not relevant, but being able to communicate or even being motivated is becoming a huge skill. Yeah, so it's a great time to think about who we are, okay? And what we'd like to be. Now, obviously, this is not always easy because you're like, oh, yes, okay, I'm going to think about these skills. Stuff gets in our way, right? It's not that easy. What things can get in your way or in the way of you sort of thinking about yourself or rebranding yourself, or what things do you think can get in your way? Anybody?
I
Yeah,
think it will be procrastination and, like Priscilla says, self-doubt also.
Self-doubt.
yeah. Another one. Yeah, and a huge blocker. I think it might be the comfort zone. So the resistance uh, to reality, to your reality to change. I think that's the problem here. Change, the times are changing. It's inevitable. So the resistance to that change is that is going to block us. So we need to adapt, basically.
Exactly. And Marco here was saying ourselves, self-doubt, empathy, fear of uncertainty. Exactly. Right. And letting go of your past self is hard. Yes. I mean, this is all easy stuff, right? But it's not just a talk. I mean, obviously, then you have to sit down and actually do it. You have to cosplay it. All right. Fear of what people will say could be one thing that we have. Overwhelm. Again, okay, I have so many things to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know exactly. Perfectionism, procrastination, like you guys were mentioning before. And a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? Like, okay, I was a teacher and now I'm a project manager. What now? I'm going to start posting in English now. Yeah, you have to, cosplay the bilingual person and actually go out and do it. The first time, I don't have any solutions for this, by the way. It's just hard stuff. And, we can do hard stuff. But we just have to remember that we can actually do it and have faith in the fact that we can. All right. What I can tell you is that it's not throwing a bomb at what you did before and start doing something else, right? Rebranding is not killing your prior identity, because as we said today, your identity is a collection of all these things, right? So your past is also a part of your identity. Hiding it is not the way to go, right? In this sense that there's an element of nostalgia, Pri was saying, of ourselves. Okay, but we are still that person. The thing is that now we're changing the light in which we look at ourselves. We're not changing. ourselves, because everything that we had before is also part of this journey, right? So we have to work a little bit on the storytelling of this to myself and to others, right? You have to work on your story, maybe make your journey public. If you're changing, if you want to focus on other things, you have to share that with other people, right? Because since we were Pablo was mentioning today, we construct our identity with others, and so you're not really changing anything if you're just changing it internally, right? Like, you have to start changing it slowly with others also, right? So it's letting go of those labels and trying to shine new lights and telling your story in a new light. Okay? There's one thing that helped me a lot is to start small. I was going to say exactly. We're connected today. Were you looking at my talk before I came? There's
Yeah.
something that has been repeated. There's something
I wrote it down so it stays more than a word said. But yeah, it's much important.
Yes. Something that has been repeated in all the talks in the festival that we went to is start small steps. There's a story of how, if you have a ship that starts and it starts just a little bit off course, it can end up being hugely off course at the end, right? And this is exactly what we don't want to be off course, but we want to start slow, because we shouldn't be underestimating the power of the small little changes that we make. And with that, I'm done. There's a book called Thank You. You can unmute yourselves and clap so that I can actually hear it.
Start of the Friday, what a start of the third day of the festival. Thank you very much, Mercedes. Okay, this is amazing. And I think that everybody should be now just clapping as you asked for this very, very first talk of the third day. Thank you very much. Okay, it was amazing. And of course, as we are doing with all our talks, I would like to see you all smiling, and we are going just to capture the moment for everybody. Okay, we will capture this, and when I count to three, let's say liquid. All right. So in 1, 2, 3, liquid. All right. Very good. I think we should take a second one. So pay attention. Let's do it again. Right? Let's say now identity. In 3, 2, 1, identity. Very good. That's awesome. Very good. All right. So people, thank you very much for being here. I don't know if we have any final comments.
I wanted to say hi to Facundo and Lea, who were my students. Hi, I'm so excited to see you. Hi.
Beautiful.
They're
Beautiful.
mine
All
now.
right. Good. Good. Okay,
Stuff
remember.
happens with teachers also. You belong to us. I don't know if you knew, but
I want to thank very much, okay, students and the participation of everybody, because when we are on this side, just completing the talk, we need that kind of interaction, as Mercedes says, as teachers, for example. Okay, we need that interaction. So thank you very much for your participation and for interacting so much and in such a positive vibe. All right. So complete your entries, students. Complete your entries, okay? And the learning lab. Go to the learning lab. Complete your entries. And if you have any comments, you have something to add. Remember that we are all on LinkedIn, and you can just extend this discussion and continue the discussion with your teachers and your classmates in the classroom. So we still have one final talk this afternoon, so don't miss it. We hope to see you all there. Thank you, everybody,
As a
and we will
student.
see you around. Bye-bye for now. Thank you,
Wait, I
Mechi.
say
All right.
something. I want to say something
Yeah,
important.
Met.
The next talk is a student that's actually giving the talk, and I think that this is an awesome illustration of what the liquidity that we were talking about today. And I also hope that this is inspiration for the next festival, when I would love one of you guys to be the ones presenting.
Oh,
I'm just
yes.
throwing it out there.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye. Have a good one.